Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and in today's video, I know that we are quite a while through January, but I still wanted to talk about all of the books that I rated 5 stars in 2025. After seeing a lot of other people's content talking about their favorite books of the year and just hearing their tags and what they loved about the books that they read in 2025, their least favorite books, I wanted to share my 5-star reads, and also just out of curiosity, how many books did I actually rate 5 stars in 2025? Because of the roughly 150 books that I ended up reading this year, 13 of them were 5 stars. So without further ado, let's just jump in and talk about them. Aside from these 5-star reads, I also had quite a few 4.5-star reads. I'm not going to go into that this year, but I think I might change up my end of year content for 2026. When I was filming my end of year bookish tag, I didn't love necessarily all of the questions or some of the questions that were on there. So I might try and do more of my favorite reads, talk about more books that I loved, and also maybe change up some of the questions. I don't know. Let me know what kind of end of year content you would like to see from me. With that in mind, let's talk about the 13 books that I rated 5 stars in 2025. These are ordered in the order that I read them. So the first book that I rated 5 stars in 2025 was The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This was released, I believe, in April. So took me a minute to find a 5-star read in 2025, but this was the one. Looking back, I think I had a bit of hesitation or fear in rating a Jessa Hastings book less than 5 stars after reading the Magnolia Parks series. So hindsight 2020, I might have bumped this down to a 4.5, but nonetheless, I still really loved this book. I love the messaging and the character dynamics and family dynamics and family drama that are in this book. In this one, we are following Georgia, who gets a call that her dad has passed away, and she goes back to visit her family for the first time in many, many years to deal with his passing and his funeral and all the things that come with that when they uncover a deeply hidden family secret, and just the different types of people that are in this book. And Georgia is also able to read people very well. She's a professional lie detector and body language savant. Like, she's in school to be able to detect these things from people. So getting her like scientific reasoning as to why she's pulling out these characteristics or feelings from these other people was so interesting to read about, and I think this would be really interesting to reread as well. Next book that I rated 5 stars was Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. This is the first book in the Undone series, and I don't know what it was necessarily about this book. I personally love like a hockey romance, and this one follows a hockey player and a figure skater, and just the emotional depth of both the characters and learning about everything that they're going through just really hit me at the time that I read this. And I just love the characters and their family and chosen family in their friendships and teammates. It was so sweet. I just loved it so much. It just pulled so much emotion out of me, and yeah, definitely one of my favorite hockey romance series to date. Next, I listened to Wild and Wrinkled by Lila Sage and gave it 5 stars. This is the 4th and final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. This one follows, I think, Dusty and Camille. Is that what their names are? And it's like a second chance. I just loved getting their insight when they were growing up and falling in love for the first time, and now falling in love for the second time, and how much they've grown and changed. It was just such a beautiful story, and the audiobook was just done so well. I love the narrators. I think it was just such a great ending to the series. Next was another audiobook, and that was Passion Project by London Sperry. This just spoke to me of some things that I was feeling, I guess, at the time. It's about somebody who loses somebody in her life and moves to New York to try to find herself, and it just has not been working out the way that she expected or wanted it to. And it's just a story about finding herself, finding the things that she loves, finding the things that spark joy. And it was just such a beautiful story. I really enjoyed the audiobook. I thought it was done really well. And just the messaging that came across, it was such a beautiful story, very raw, very real, and just again spoke to a part of me that I guess needed to hear it at the time. Next, I did a reread of Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I actually did the reread on audio, and I think the first time I read this, it was a 4.5 star or a 4 star, and on reread, it was very easily a 5 star. I just absolutely love the nostalgia that Carly Fortune gives me, especially with her Barry's Bay books. They're very much set in Northern Ontario and just reminds me of going to my grandparents' lake every summer growing up and having these summer friends and swimming in the lake and just playing around in the summer. It's just such a nostalgic read, and the setting is all very familiar. And also just found the love story in this to be very realistic to how young love is. I just absolutely loved it, and I love the way that this ended compared to some other books that have similar plot points. Next book I rated 5 stars was Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This was the first book in the Rose Hill series. This one followed Ford and Rosie, and again was like a second chance, enemies to lovers, brother's best friend. There was a lot of tropes in this one that I just loved. This wasn't really a second chance, but they were like childhood frenemies. Rosie just gave the most black cat energy and was so hilarious. There was so much of this book that I was laughing out loud at, and that just does not happen very often for me. So I couldn't rate this anything less than 5 stars. I just had the best time reading this one. Next 5 stars was One Golden Summer, of course, by Carly Fortune. This is the second book in the Barry's Bay series. And this follows Charlie's story. Again, it was just so nostalgic. I just loved this book so much, and I felt like I related to a lot of the things that were discussed and just really kind of inspired me. Our main character, Alice, is back at the lake that she spent one summer at and is just trying to, again, sort of rediscover herself. She made like a bucket list for things that she would have wanted if she was 17 and is playing this out as a much older woman now. And it was just such a beautiful story. I just absolutely loved it. I love being in Barry's Bay. Again, it's so nostalgic to me with the Northern Ontario cottage life. It's such a magical story in that way, how just everything seems possible at the lake. Next book I rated 5 stars was The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I just absolutely ate this book up. I loved the drama between all of our characters and the figure skating world that they were in. I just definitely could not ever put this book down, and I needed to know what was coming next. The relationships were so toxic but made for excellent reading. And I also loved the mixed media sort of elements where there was some news or like interview portions between the chapters, and then we also got our female main character's POV in the majority of the chapters. Next 5 stars was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I thought that I was going to enjoy this one, but I feel like this one took me by surprise by how much it impacted me. In this one, we're following our female main character, who is one of the first women to be part of the NASA space program and go up into space. And really, this is just a story about love of herself, love of the people around her, of her job, of life. It was just the most beautiful story, and the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote it, it just made you feel. And yeah, the ending made me sob wild. Just a couple more to go. The next book I rated 5 stars was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This book was not complex in the plot that it was about. We're following our two main characters who have been married for a long time. They got married young, and are just trying to reconnect. You can feel how much they love each other, but they just need something to get them back on the same page, I guess. And they go on this like wilderness trek for a few days, climbing through these mountains and camping and reflecting on their lives and what they want. And it was just so beautiful. It was like seeing all of the love between our characters and all of these small, mundane, everyday things. It was just so beautiful and such a beautifully written story that, again, just spoke to me at the time. Next, I rated Unloved 5 stars by Peyton Corinne. This is book 2 in the Undone series. I wasn't sure if I was going to rate this one 5 stars as well, but by the time I got to the end of this book, just the way that our characters continually showed up for each other, my heart, it just couldn't take it. I absolutely loved this book. It's, again, the love being shown between our characters in all of these little moments. It just got me. Again, just spoke to me at the right time. I feel like I related a lot to Ro. Do we see a theme? A lot of these books just spoke to me and really resonated with things that I had been feeling while I was reading them, and just ended up reading them at the perfect time. So in this one, we're following Freddie, who is scraping by with his GPA and he needs a tutor, but none of the tutors really want to tutor him. And so he kind of gets pushed onto Ro, who is in a horrible relationship and doesn't really realize that she has been sort of treated like garbage. And so just the way they continually show up for each other is just the sweetest thing. And yeah, I couldn't rate this anything less than 5 stars. And my last 2 5-star reads were more recent ones. First is Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. I just loved this book. I'm reading Brimstone right now, and there's just something about this world. It feels so unique to me. The magic system is nothing like I've ever read before. The fantasy elements that Kelly chose to incorporate into this book, although are not new by any means, the combination and the way that she added them to the story felt very unique to me. And I also really went into this book with no idea what it was about. So I was definitely caught by surprise by pretty much everything that happened. And just, I don't know, the humor, the banter, the various cast of characters that we meet along the way. I just absolutely love it. And it's such a good fantasy for me. And I have just been having the time of my life of reading this series. Kind of in addition to that one, I also rated the Kingfishers POV bonus chapters 5 stars, but I didn't necessarily add them to this list because it was very short. I ended up listening to them on audio and they were fantastic. They added a lot to the story and definitely added information needed in for Brimstone. There's already been a lot of connections between the bonus chapters and Brimstone, so I'm just having the best time reading this series. And the last 5-star read that I read in 2025 was Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This book just, wow. It touched on so many topics that are so important to think about, and just how your humanity can change, or what the effect of being alive for so long has on your humanity. Just such a thought-provoking story, and our very unique, distinct characters that we're following in all of these different historical time periods. I could feel each of the time periods that we were in, and they were very distinct, and our characters were very distinct. This was just such a well-written book that I think would resonate with a lot of people. There are so many topics and themes that are discussed in this book that I think almost everyone could find something that they related to or that spoke to them. And yeah, this is just, the more I talk about it in these wrap-ups, in these tags, I just want to go reread it again. It was so good. But those are all of the 13 books that I read and rated 5 stars in 2025. Even as I was making this list, I didn't think I would have quite that many. And I'm so glad that I found so many books that really resonated with me and that I absolutely loved. And here's to finding even more in 2026. But let me know down below what your favorite read of 2025 was. I would love to chat with you. Have you read any of the books that I rated 5 stars? Did you also enjoy them? If you would like to find me on other corners of the internet, all of my links are linked down below. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.